Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song Runaway from Aurora and her album All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend. I'm musically malnourished and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So let's get in, see what's going on with Runaway. All right, this is what Aurora said. It was, I think, at school in 9th grade, we were going to make a music project, and that resulted in Runaway. I didn't like school, I didn't like homework or bringing schoolwork home, and then I decided to just make a song. At that time, I wrote a song that I didn't understand fully, but that later turned out to be a very important song that I understand well today. And it makes more and more sense, especially when I'm on tour, and that's very nice. I feel like little Aurora gave the older Aurora a gift by writing a song that maybe could be useful later in life. That song from little Aurora and that period of my life is with me now and will continue to be forever on my further travels. We did watch the Genius interview with Aurora where she talked about the song and some of the meaning and inspiration behind it. And so it is quoting a piece of that. That's over on Patreon. But here it says Runaway was actually the second song I ever wrote. It's the most fantastic thing that as I grow older, Runaway has just made more and more sense to me. That's misspelled. And felt closer and closer to my heart. All right, let's get up into the song. I was listening to the ocean. I saw a face in the sand, but when I picked it up, then it vanished away from my hands. I had a dream. I was 7, climbing my way in a tree. I saw a piece of heaven waiting in patience for me. She didn't get into a lot of details about certain aspects of this. Some of the things that she did share was this idea of trying to see someone's face in the sand and the idea of like a person not being there, maybe someone you loved that you lost, and being able to, I guess in a way, think about them and obviously listen into the ocean and this place of maybe reflection and of peace. And she talked about how from her window where her piano was, she could see the ocean. And so she talked a little bit about that. But then obviously this idea, but when I picked it up, so wanting to see this person, hold this person, she even talked about like wanting to stroke their cheek, but they're not there. And when I picked it up, it vanished away from my hands. She did talk about how she loved to climb trees. This says, she recalls being 7 years old, a time when for most, life is easy, optimistic, and free of conflict. The dream of climbing a tree could mean she is subconsciously trying to reach a spiritual realization. This is supported by the next line. I saw a piece of heaven waiting in patience for me. It's theorized this lyric ties into Lucky, which is another track on her debut album. Aurora wrote the chorus of Lucky, and some other parts when she was 9 years old, which would only be 2 years after she was 7. Aurora has never spoke on what this lyric means or why she's lucky to be alive, but the most believable theory is that she might have fallen out a tall tree and had a near-death experience, which is why she saw a piece of heaven. Now, she did say in the Genius interview she loved to climb trees and that she was climbing one day and a branch broke and she almost fell, and that it was exciting for her, but at the same time she had this feeling of like, oh, what if I did fall and die? And so maybe it is that moment climbing the tree and the branch breaking, and in that moment she gets this piece of heaven, this idea of contemplating life and death, and that one day she would pass away, that heaven is waiting in patience for her. Seems to fit. And I was running far away. Would I run off the world someday? Nobody knows. So this one, she really just talked about, and we can see what this says. Many ancient cultures believed the world was a shape other than spherical, and as such that one could, by sailing or otherwise traveling far enough, reach the edge of the world and even fall off. This is usually known as the flat earth model. Within the context of the song, the theme of escapism reaches a crescendo here. Yeah, that's 100% what I believe, and kind of what she shared. as the narrator seems to embrace the possibility of her own self-destruction or just her own fragility, as a human, believing that if she runs far enough to escape what's been, she'll reach a point where she's forced to deal with the conflict she's been avoiding all along. She may as well just go home where she belongs. And so she did talk about this idea of running away and could she just run off the world and into the moon and past? And so it could be this idea, right, of just trying to escape. And then she goes into the next line, I was dancing in the rain. I felt alive and I can't complain. And when she spoke about this, she was talking about that idea of rain more as difficulty, as sorrow, as darkness, and yet learning to dance within it. And that's part of why I think she was saying the younger her writing this song that becomes more and more real to her as she gets older, that there is a key in life to be able to dance in the rain, to go through the difficult circumstances of life and still find a way to dance, still find a way to hold on to some joy. I'd be curious what this says about it. And that's probably it. I felt alive and I can't complain. So the idea that in those difficulties, of course you could complain, but choosing to dance and recognizing that you are alive. Continuing the theme of escapism, the narrator takes a childlike or primal joy dancing in the rain without any care for her problems or situation. This may be a loose reference from Singing in the Rain, in which actor Gene Kelly sings and dances with an umbrella in torrential rain. It could be, but it also, I don't know, it's a common thing, the idea of dancing in the rain. But no, take me home. Take me home where I belong. I can't take it anymore. I think it's, for her, she talked about imagining being home in her mother's arms, and that felt like home to her. But she also elaborated that that home should be this place to mend, this place that is this balm that rests on your wounds. And I would love that she talked about how it doesn't have to be the family you're born into, because I know for some of you listening, your home was not that place. Your home was far from that place. Maybe home was a place of turmoil and difficulty, not a place of refuge, which is tragic. My wife and I have worked really hard to make our home a place of peace. Now, that doesn't mean there's not conflict in our home. You can't exist as humans. And part of even raising children, we have 3 children, 14, 12, and 10. Part of raising children is beneficial conflict, right? You can't just take the Willy Wonka way out. Peace and happiness, or peace and tranquility, whatever the mom says of Baruka. That's what matters in life. The fact that they just gave her whatever she wanted to keep peace, but then you just raise this rotten child. But I can 100% say I know our home is a place that our children feel comfortable. It's a place of rest. It's a place they know they're loved. And so even the idea that maybe that wasn't your home growing up is that we should all have a place we call home. And that place is meant to be a place of refuge. And so it sounds like kind of done running. Now it's time to go home. I was painting a picture. The picture was a painting of you. For a moment, I thought you were here, but then again, it wasn't true. And so she did reference that it's kind of like here, it was very solidified. I saw a face in the sand, but here it's kind of like trying to manifest or realize this person and thinking, hoping they were there in that moment, but then realizing it's not true. And I've been lying in secret to myself. I've been putting sorrow on the farthest place on my shelf. It's this idea of trying to, in a way, through painting this picture of them, maybe make it like they're still there, which can be heartbreaking, man. The idea of looking at a picture of someone you loved, or drawing or painting or whatever it is, and it's like, in that moment, you're like, I can almost believe that they're there, but then the reality sets in that they're not, and you're lying in secret to yourself, and you've been putting sorrow on the farthest place on the shelf, this place you don't want to see, this place that you don't want, this thing that you don't want near you. Let's see what this says. In an interview with Face Culture, Aurora said these lines are about convincing yourself you're not sad when you should be confronting your emotions. That's what you do when you're sad, but you pretend that you're not. You do everything you can to forget that you're sad. But the thing you really need to do is to think about it until you understand it, and then it will be fine again. But that's kind of what I mean with that line, that I've been lying to myself, and that's why I can't move on, because I'm not facing it. And I was running far away. Take me home where I belong. I've got no other place to go. Let's see what this says. Many of Aurora's songs deal with the idea that with home, wherever and whatever that might be, comes peace, sanctuary, and a sense of belonging. Indeed, see her songs Home, Awakening, and her unreleased songs, All My Demons. The repetition used in these lines reinforces to listeners that Aurora desperately wants to go home, the place where she feels safe and secure. But I kept running for a soft place to fall. I don't think she gave much insight about this, so I'm curious to see what this says. Maybe it's the idea like she knows she should go home, but she continues running and is looking and hoping for this place to land that will help with whatever emotion she's feeling and putting far away on the shelf. Let's see what this says. The bridge in the song is definitely when you've gone too far and you just fall into the ground because you're so tired. And a soft place to fall. I remember when I was a child, I thought of my mother's arms. Okay, so I'm sorry, she did talk about this. The softest place I could ever fall was just in my mother's arms. So maybe it was like, take me home. So I'm running far from home, but then the idea of take me home, I can't take it anymore. Take me where I belong is turning around and running for that place of that is home for you. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, and then it repeats through the end. Beautiful song, man. Can't wait to continue getting into her stuff. I think it's so insightful. So share with me your thoughts in the comments. If you saw anything I didn't see or you saw something different, we can have a conversation there. But thanks for being with me for this one. I hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.